So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rebecca. I am a museum educator at Heritage Malta and a doctoral candidate. I'm focusing on the management and communication of deepwater cultural heritage at the University of Malta. Today I will be presenting the case study of my doctoral research, the Xlendi Underwater Archaeological Park, which my supervisor, Timmy Gambin, likes to call the jewel in the crown of underwater archaeology. So I'll be talking to you a little bit about how last year we inaugurated the world's first deepwater archaeological park. But first, if you allow me to make a bit of an impromptu point. So earlier today, we voted in a poll to see what was the most important element to keep in mind in 3D digitization and so on. And the minority of us voted for public outreach and education. In several presentations, we've been hearing 3D, digitization, why, how, what. But in my opinion, obviously coming from my background and biases, the first question we should be asking is for who? Because at the end of the day, we all need to step out of our offices, museums, universities, and be able to feel a sense of fulfillment towards our responsibility to contribute to increasing the knowledge, but also sharing this knowledge to people, researchers, non-researchers, laymen alike, because after all, this is, of course, a shared heritage, a common heritage, and this is and should be our mutual goal. So today I will be talking to you a little bit about what I think is the epitome of public archaeology, of accessibility, of the for who, which is, of course, parks, the Xlendi Underwater Archaeological Park. So I'm obviously taking you to Xlendi Bay in Gozo. The city, the village of Xlendi is located in the southeast of Gozo and is a modern-day fishing village, but in ancient times would have been much larger than it currently is and would have served as a harbor, a quite active commercial harbor in Phoenician, Punic, and Roman times, and as an area is extremely rich in underwater cultural heritage. It was in the 50s, but more in the 60s, when one John Wood began to discover and bring up from the seabed several objects that belonged to what we later found was a shipwreck off of Ras El Baida, which is where the Xlendi Tower is located on this headland, but these items were being discovered at 60 meters deep into the sea, but in close proximity to this headland. They began raising these items. Most of these were amphorae, Punic amphorae, and these items have ended up in the Gozo Museum of Archaeology. So, in 1993, the area was researched further via a submarine survey, and this detected what we today know as the tower wreck, which is exactly what we've transformed into the Xlendi Underwater Archaeological Park. And the tower wreck gains its name due to the fact that it's located in close proximity to the Xlendi Coastal Watchtower. It has nothing to do with towers at all, really, other than its location. And what the tower wreck is a very large shipwreck, maybe more than one shipwreck, maybe not shipwrecks at all, because in reality it's 67,000 square meters of Punic cargo spread out sporadically and also in clusters at 105 meters deep of seabed. So we're talking about a deep water wreck, an extremely large, rich area of cultural heritage, of course, this being such a large site, a unique site, a site that has so much relevance to the harbor of Xlendi and perhaps even today, because of course you can imagine the people of Xlendi watching people bring things out of the water in the 50s and 60s must have encouraged a lot of enthusiasm and interest, has merited its transformation into the world's first deepwater archaeological park. So when Timmy Gambin, the director of UCHU, recognized this unique criteria, we had to begin to not only research, but figure out how we're going to communicate a deep water park to the public. Of course, we're talking about a very small amount of people who will actually be able or are interested in diving to 105 meters deep. So the first sort of port of call was to go to photogrammetry, not only for research purposes, but to document the site as much as possible and to create products for public consumption. So I won't go into this process because John's covered that very well already. But we've been able to gather a lot of data that has enabled us to create different levels of access. And over here, I've shown you the 3 different categories of access. So you've got the physical, people can visit the site, it is publicly accessible against a ticket, so you can enter a booking system to book the ticket. But we've also got an exhibition at the Xlendi Tower. The Xlendi Tower is owned by the Munchar Local Council, so this is a collaborative venture, and the lower floor of the Xlendi Tower has been transformed into the exhibition space. So I think once I progress a bit more with the photos, video of the exhibition space will show. But other than that, we've also got the virtual, so the virtual museum which Maya has spoken about, and our virtual reality dive into history experiences. So the park is available both physically, in situ, physically ex situ at the Xlendi Tower, and also on the virtual museum and through the VR experiences. So visitors and potential researchers also are given the opportunity to experience the site in different realms of accessibility. So, accessing the deep water, the possibilities, recognizing that we do not live in a vacuum. And of course, our ideas are not necessarily unique or original. Heritage Malta funded a research trip for me to Stockholm last February, and I was able to visit the Wrack, Museum of Wrecks, which sort of really symbolizes what can be done with in-situ cultural heritage such as the Tower Wreck, without Vasaing everything. We can't make a Vasa everywhere. That would be financially impossible and for many other reasons impossible. So what the Wrack does and what it has done here in this image, it has created or recreated the Rezandaman wreck, which is a 1660 shipwreck at 15 meters. And it has printed literally onto a carpet in plan view the shipwreck. And floating on top of certain items on this shipwreck are exhibition cases containing holograms. So the visitor is literally able to walk around this shipwreck, which is still an in-situ shipwreck, and once they approach the holograms, the item underneath the exhibition case is shown and then shows a video of it in situ, how it actually is nowadays. So we're fulfilling both the aims of in-situ preservation as well as public communication. And this is something that maybe later in the future will apply to the Xlendi Park and other underwater cultural heritage. The Wrack Museum also contains a virtual reality experience, which is more of a serious game in which the user is able to go on a quest and take pictures of different items that they are then able to analyze in a lab that they've recreated here. And this just allows a new level of interactivity. Of course, when we're bringing in the digital, we want to make this not only easy to use, but have the users understand the process of excavation, the process of analysis, the heritage much easier. So this hands-on experience will only aid the understanding of cultural heritage, archaeology, and so on. So this is just to show awareness, of course, that we're not living in a vacuum. Now, the park so far, we've launched it. We've had open days at the Xlendi Tower with our virtual reality dive into history experience. We have every summer seasons in which we're doing more and more research on the park to gather more data. And of course, there's more to come in the future to fulfill the goal, the UTRU's primary goal of making this heritage accessible. And with that, I think I will close off my presentation and pass on to the next. Thank you.